So you may have seen gold luster being sold, which is an overglaze you can put on your pottery after you fired it, and it requires that you fire it at a really low temperature, a separate kiln run, and you get nice gold on the rim of a cup or whatever it is. And that's fine, but there's actually not a whole bunch of gold in it. I don't like having to do another firing run. I don't like that concept, and I like the idea of being able to take gold in its pure form, even if it was a piece of jewelry or something, maybe melt it, hammer it out, roll it out, I don't know. So I didn't want to deal with that part, but I wanted to get some gold leaf and see if I could make it show up on pottery. It was not an easy process, and the final result was less than impressive, and you just almost couldn't see it. And I did it a second time, and it showed up a little bit better, and I thought this was going to be it. I cut down some of the video content and did the second firing and the third firing, and I just kept trying. I eventually moved to a mug rather than my original test piece, which I kept firing again and again. So I was sitting on this video not wondering if I wanted to shoot it. Let me show you what I did, and hopefully you find it enjoyable and you learn something. So here's what we have. We have our gold leaf, water-based sizing to get the gold leaf to stick. We have a couple little brushes, and selected 2 test bottles. It's one of the advantages of making a lot of test bottles. You always have spares. And here's my theory. I'm about to do a bisque run, and I think that full cone 5 is going to be well above gold melting temperatures. I want to do some tests doing that as well, but my first thought is to take something that's already been glazed, put the gold on it, and then run it through a cone 05, which is actually a little below. A cone 04 probably will hit gold melting temperatures, but first thing first, I want to put a little bit of gold somewhere on each of these, and tonight I'm going to fire them and we're going to see what it does. You can see in the reflection, hopefully, where it is, almost like a finger smudge, but it's really hard to spot. So hopefully I'm going to lay the gold kind of in the area, and what won't stick I can brush off and try to reapply. You can immediately see where the gold is pulling away. Okay, that did not go well. I really don't want to touch it. I'm highly convinced it's going to stick to my fingers. But on this side mark, I wanted to try to put a thicker layer on and see if that makes a difference. I'm going to fold this a little bit in if I can. You can see the gold move just from my breath. It is very thin. So here they are out of the kiln. Not exactly what I expected, but quite interesting. All the gold looks like it's gone. I did not expect, because we were slightly under gold's melting temperature, I did not expect it to disappear or be absorbed into the glaze or whatever exactly happened. And what I want to do is just simply take one of these sheets, and can I get it to fold in half on itself, and then perhaps fold in half again while still on the paper. Then I'll stick that on, and that will be 4 layers of gold. There we go. Okay, 4 layers of gold. Now I still have some remnants on the side. I'm going to just try to avoid that. Have a little bit that didn't go, but I'm not going to worry about it. Just want to come in here, get that to stick. So it's kind of flaky on the top layer, but that's legitimately 4 layers. So what I want to do now is let's try to do it one more time, but I'm going to try to fold it in half again, and we'll get a quick 8-layer test right there. Here. Okay, there we got it. So we have 8 layers, which actually a little flaky, but not as bad as the 4 layers. So I'm optimistic. Let's see, I'll fire this tonight and we'll see what happens. So here it is out of the kiln, and we can see gold. Still, it's not the gold, kind of a gold luster look that I'm really going for, but I'm excited that you can actually see the gold. There are little spots where the gold, I don't know if it folded there or why, but there are little spots where the gold is a little bit more, like on the corner there, you can see a little gold fleck. But I'm excited you can see it. So this was 4 layers, and this was 8 layers. And even this doesn't look thick enough to me. Okay, so I just can't let this gold thing go. We've seen that the thicker the better, so I thought, what the heck, let's just take a new cup. This is one I've been kicking around for a couple weeks with an extruded handle, and I want to see how much gold I can lay on this. And we're going to run this, even though this is fully fired and glazed, we're going to run this through an 05 bisque like we did this one. And I want to know, can I put enough gold on to actually gild a handle one way or the other? I want to know, so we're going to go for it. Okay, so I'm going to start with 3. I'm going to try to stack them, and then we're going to fold them up so I can get many more than 8 layers. Let's see how this goes. That is actually kind of nice. Now I'm wondering if I can buy this stuff thicker, because if I can handle it, it sure makes life easier. Okay. So I've made up 2. Let's see if the second one is cooperative. Well, I don't know if that is going to stay on there. I really don't want to brush it. I think it's just going to... This one went on much better. This one, I think when I folded it up, it kind of got shoved around and wrinkled, and it just isn't as integrous as the other one. So, I'm going to put this in a bisque. We're going to see what happens. Hopefully it will melt it onto the surface, but we'll actually be able to see it. And by chance, if it comes out rough or I'm not happy with the finish, I'm going to just throw it in the next glaze run, refire this piece, and you know, maybe the gold disappears, maybe it gets absorbed into the glaze, maybe it runs and drips. But if I'm not happy with it, I'm going to just refire this in a glaze run, cone 5, and we'll see if that fixes it. So, but first, to the bisque. I also decided to take our handy test bottle with our other failed gold tests and put a piece of silver on it. So if it doesn't work out, you'll never see it, but if it does, I wanted you to see it before it went in the kiln. And it wasn't sticking to the bottle, so I folded it up and then just kind of folded it over the rim here. I shouldn't mess with it, but we'll fire that too. I really want to see some gold. I don't care how it feathers out. I don't care if it disappears down the handle. But where your thumb goes, I want to see some evidence of gold. So I made up a third piece, 24 layers thick. Kind of debating whether or not I should just wrap it around like very thin aluminum foil. I'm not sure if it'll break, but I just want to concentrate an additional amount right in this area. So it's out of the bisque kiln, and this is what we have. So this is interesting. It's the first time where this has really melted down quite nicely, and outside of this extra wrap bit not being melted in, everything is laid down now. It's nice. I can breathe on it without it going crazy. It is a little smudgy. Kind of goes from shiny gold to dull gold. Hopefully you can see that. Let me bring you in as close as I can. So you see how that laid down nicely otherwise. On its own, I don't think I'd call that the most amazing gold, but it's the best I've seen so far. But I do want to take it one step further. So what I want to do is see if I can stick this down, and then we're going to put a thin layer of clear over it, and we're going to refire it in a glaze run. And as for the silver, very reminiscent of our first gold test. Thin, not impressive. Kind of has a silvery, anyways. That's that. Okay, so I'm ready to glaze this, and I've decided I'm not going to dip it, but instead I'm going to come back. I'm going to use the same glaze that the piece is already glazed in, but I want to see if I can add just a really small layer. And my real hope is that because I pushed down the loose pieces in there and underneath, that will motivate them to continue to flow down and stick down, but maybe I can aid it by giving a little glaze. I'm going to let this dry. Any spot that it's dripped, I'm just going to come back with a towel and towel that off real quick. But yeah. So here's what we got. Man, it almost completely disappeared. I must say, when I first saw it, I was pretty bummed. It has a very interesting kind of a glistening surface to it. The only other thought I had is if I wanted to put a clear over it, maybe I should get a low fire clear, or at least something that could go in my bisque kiln, and not bring it all the way up to cone 5. But that's what happened.